I can't remember when I first heard the American poet Robert Bly speak, but I do remember it made an impact on me. Bly has translated some of the world's most powerful metaphysical poetry from the likes of Antonio Machado, Rilke, Rumi, Hafez, Juan Ramon Jimenez, and many more. Because he is a poet, he knows how to bring forth not only the beauty of these poets' words, but the deeper meanings encoded in their work. Bly is also a master storyteller. It's worth listening to some of the recordings he's made because no one can really tell a tale like him.
Friend, wake up. Why do you go on sleeping? The night is over. Do you want to lose a day the same way? Other women who manage to get up early have already found an elephant or a jewel. And so much was lost already while you slept. And that was so unnecessary. The one who loves you understood, but you did not. You forgot to make a place in your bed next to you. Instead, you spent your life playing. In your 20s, you did not grow because you did not know who your Lord was. Wake up. Wake up. There's no one in your bed. He left you during the long night. Kabir says, the only woman awake is the woman who has heard the flute.
Bly is particularly good at talking about witches, which he argues are misunderstood. They are neither male nor female, but exist in the depths. In Russia, she is a Baba Yaga who asks the questions that will shape your fate. Did you come here of your own free will? Or were you forced here by something or someone else? That's a pretty useful question to keep in mind when meeting any situation. The Baba Yaga does not admit easy answers. There is no yes or no in her world. Things are too complicated, too intertwined. We would like to banish the witch to the basement or burn her alive at the stake, but you would be missing her ferocity, her spirit, the ability to understand things beyond the reductionist statements that diminish us all. Besides Bly's poetry and stories and his powerful reimagining of the world, Bly also wrote the best book on the concept of the psychological shadow. The shadow refers to that part of the unconscious psyche that is nearest to the consciousness, but which is not completely accepted by it. In his A Little Book on the Human Shadow, Bly uses the powerful image of a long bag we drag behind us and in which we place all those things that the world, our parents first, then our peers, our teachers, our partners, find unacceptable about us. It could be our anger or aggression, that's generally a big one, or it could be our outspokenness. At some point, whatever it is, we are encouraged to be nice, to not upset the apple cart, and so our more aggressive impulses get shoved into that bag. By the time you're 25 years old, according to Bly, you are a sliver of a person with a giant bag. Then you go and meet another sliver with an equally big bag and you marry them. No wonder Robert Bly says things don't really work out so well. The substance in the bag, Bly says, feels angry, and when you see it, it's shaped like an ape and it moves about like an ape. The story says then that when we put a part of ourselves in the bag, it regresses, it devolves towards barbarism. Bly reminds us that the Balinese can be violent and brutal in war, but in daily life they seem much less violent than we are here in the West. Now, what does this mean? Bly points out that in the American South they put figures of helpful little black men on the lawn cast in iron, and in the American North they do the same thing with serene deer. They put roses in the wallpaper, Renoir above the sofa, and John Denver on the stereo. Then the aggression escapes from the bag and attacks everyone. The issue is not so much that we do project, Bly says, but how long we keep those projections out there. Now, our personal bag contains all this energy that isn't available to us. If, for example, we identify ourselves as uncreative, it means we took our creativity and put it into that bag. Once Bly said to the audience, "You want a poet, a hired gun, to come in from out of town, but everybody should be writing their own poems." There are community bags, political bags, national bags. Everything we don't like in our communities and nations often go in there so we can blame others for it. Carl Jung had to say this about that. We live in a time when there dawns upon us a realization that the people living on the other side of the mountain are not made up exclusively of red-headed devils responsible for all the evil on this side of the mountain. Well, maybe it dawns on us, and maybe to our peril, it doesn't. So what is to be done? Bly puts it this way: we spend the first half of our lives stuffing that bag and spend the rest of it taking out the things one by one. Are you doing that work? You should be. Now, Bly reminds us that although all that we reject in ourselves goes into our shadow, that is where projection might actually help us. Marie-Louise von Franz went as far as to say that if we didn't project, we wouldn't connect with the world at all. You have to find the bits you've disowned, the bits you've projected onto others, and only then, when you recognize you have actually projected them, can you integrate them and free the other from the weight of your own stuff. So pick up this little book. It won't take you long to read, but it is definitely one that I consider life-changing. The book is called A Little Book on the Human Shadow, and it is magnificent.